In this video, we are going to explore equations and graphs. Let's begin. To write an equation, we need two main pieces of information. We need the slope, represented by the letter m, and we're going to also need the y-intercept, or the b, represented by the letter b, and that is where, for example, if I had drew a blue line, that is where my blue line touches the y-intercept. Remember, this is the y-axis and this is the x. So where this line touches the y-axis, that is called the y-intercept, or the b. The slope just gives you the angle. So if you're going upward, that's a positive slope. If it's flat, it's a zero slope. And if it's going downward, that's a negative slope. So this line right here has a positive slope. If the graph is proportional, we know that the equation will be written in the form y equals mx, where m is the slope. However, if the graph is non-proportional, the equation will be written in the form y equals mx plus b. So basically, if I have a y-intercept that's not zero, then it's not proportional. So equations of horizontal lines, remember those are lines that go left and right. In a graph of a horizontal line, the y value is constant. Oops. The y value is constant. Therefore, equations of horizontal lines will always begin with y equals. So for example, you'd have like y equals 8, or y equals 2, or y equals -5. And those are just horizontal lines that run all the way through 8, or 2, or -5. So that's what we mean by the y value being constant. If you have a vertical line, the x value is what's constant. Let me change the color. The x value is what's constant. So equations of vertical lines will always begin with x equals. For example, most of our equations are y equals mx plus b, or y equals mx. When you have an equation that just goes x equals 8, or x equals 2, or x equals -7, what that means is that you are going to have a vertical line at 8, or 2, or -7 on the x-axis. So let's try some problems. We need to find the slope, the y-intercept, and equation for each graph below. Let's look at these lines. Let's go ahead and do I always do the y-intercept first because it's the easiest, it's obvious. Something you need to be mindful of is checking your numbers. If you look at these numbers, the x-axis, which is this axis right here, all the numbers go up by 1, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I look at my y-axis, which goes up and down, y-axis goes up and down, the numbers are going up by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So just kind of be mindful of that. Let's do my slope. So let me take 2 points at corners that touch the whole number. So let's do this one. This one does not touch a corner, so let's go to this one, it does. How do I get from this point to that point? Well, my rise and my run. My rise is actually +2 because I'm going from 4 to 6. My run is also from here to here. That's from 0 to 2. My run is also +2. So my slope is 2 over 2, or 2 over 2 is just 1. So m equals 1. Let's go ahead and write m right there. M equals y-intercept, that's the b. And what does the b equal? Let's see. The b, let me use a different color. The b is where this line touches the y-axis. So the b is right over here. That's the y-intercept. Womp. What number is that? That number is 0 and 4. Not 0, 3. Remember, the numbers are going up by 2 every time. So 0 and 4. So my y-intercept is 4. My equation, remember, y equals m x plus b, and you just got to fill out the m, which is the slope, and the b, which is the y-intercept. So y equals m is 1, x is x, plus b, which is 4. So you could either write it as y equals 1x plus 4 or y equals x plus 4. They're both correct. Second one's actually better, but it's fine. Is the graph proportional? The answer is no, because if we have a y-intercept like that, that's not 0, it is not proportional. Let's take a look at number 2. Our slope. Let's take 2 points that run through corners. How about this point and this point? So how do I get from that point? I go 1, 2. Okay, so I'm starting from 0 to -4. So that's going down -4 because it looks like the y values go by 2. And it actually looks like the x values go by 2 as well. So if I'm going from here to here, that's from -6 to 0. It's actually 6. Not -6, because I'm moving to the right. So going down is the opposite of going up. You know, remember, rise over run. If I'm rising by -4, that means you're going the opposite of going up, which is down. But typically, I'm always going to go to the right. If I'm moving to the right, it's positive. So don't think like, oh, -6 and 0, wasn't that -6? No, I'm moving to the right. I'm moving forward 6 spaces. So my slope, or my m, is -4. Rise of -4 over that, which can be simplified to -2/3. You may be wondering where the negative should go. Doesn't it stay on the top? No, because fractions like -2/3, that's the same thing as a -2/3, which actually is the same thing as 2/3. It really doesn't matter where you put the negative. So -2/3 is my slope. My y-intercept is it's not over here, because that's the x-axis. It's what up there. It is, touches a y-axis right there. Let's go with red. So right over there, that's a y-intercept. And the y-intercept is 0, -4. Y-intercept is -4. And my equation, y equals mx plus b, y equals -2/3 x plus b. You could put plus -4, or when you have a plus minus next to each other, you know, the minus beats out the plus. So y equals -2/3 x minus 4. Is it proportional? Does it run through 0.00? No. And it has a y-intercept of -4. It's not a y-intercept of 0. So no, it is not proportional. That's a weird looking no. No, it's okay. Let's look at the next one. We've got a horizontal line. And if you remember, horizontal lines always just look like this. Y equals some number. So it's running through 4. My slope is 0 because it's not going up or at all. It's just going left and right. So it's a slope of 0. My y-intercept is still right there, and that b is 4. So m is 0, b is 4. And the equation, you may be thinking, oh, isn't that y equals 0x plus 4? Well, yeah, but 0x just 0 times x is 0. So if you were to rewrite it or simplify it, that'd be y equals 0 plus 4. And what is 0 plus 4? It's just 4. So that's our equation. Best equation. It is y equals 4. Is the graph proportional? Does it run through 0, 0? It does not. So no. All right, let's take a look at our next one. It is a vertical line. So these ones do not have a y equals mx or mx plus b form. So it's not going to be written like that because it's a vertical line. My slope is not 0. It's considered undefined. My y-intercept, where does it touch the y-axis? You may be thinking, oh, isn't it -6? No, this is the x-axis. That's the x-intercept, which is not important to us. So the answer is that there is no y-intercept. None. What's the equation? If you remember, all equations of vertical lines start with x equals. So what does x equal? Well, it runs through -6, so x equals -6. No matter what y equals, x always equals -6. So my equation is x equals -6. Is it proportional? It is not. All right, let's read this one. Which of the following situations could be modeled by the graph below? It starts at 100. It seems to be going down by like 10 every 3 something. So our rate is like, or our slope is like, let's write slope is -10/3. And then it's our y-intercept is right there. It's 100. 0 on 100. All right. So Elena has $100 in her bank account. Every 3 days, she saves another $10 and adds it to her account. Saves another and adds it to her account. It seems wrong because it looks like she's losing money. So that's probably not it. Hunter weighs 100 pounds, and his goal is to gain weight for football. He gains 10 pounds every 3 weeks. Sounds close, but again, gaining means that the line should be going up, not down. That's not it. So the third one has to be it. Dawn's pond is 100 meters deep, but her city hasn't received much rain. As a result, the pond level decreases by 10 meters every 3 days. So it starts at 100, and it decreases by 10 every 3 days. Yeah, that sounds about right. C is correct, even though it is the strangest one of all of them. Let's take a look at this one. We need to create our own story based off of this. We have a start of like, our y-intercept is like 2, so our starting point is 2. And let's see, my next point that touches it goes up and over. It goes up by 2, remember, because we're looking at 2 to 4, so it's not going up by 1, but going up by 2. It's going over by 2, 4, 6, going over by 6. So our slope is 2/6, which is 1/3. So we have to figure out what this is and what that is. So let's go ahead and say I'm in a Halloween kind of mood. So let's say this is hours, or let's say this is minutes. This is minutes, and this is candy. So Jack starts with how much candy? With 2 pieces of candy. And gets another 2 candies every no, not 2 candies. Our slope is 1/3, so we could say 2 candies every 6 minutes, but probably best to say 1 candies, or 1 candy gets another 1 candy every 3 minutes. Wow, that's a really slow rate. And that's our story. All right, so that is how you turn lines into equations. I'll go ahead and try some problems on your own.